you let me love you forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
Hello. Wait, let me fix my count there. Welcome to TMW Online, the Melanated Way. I'm Linda. That's Abby. We are here on a special Wednesday because we didn't have a Monday show. Life happens and people got to travel and live life and all the things. Right, Abby?
That's right. But we're here to come back to 90 Day because it's my favorite thing and I will never shut up talking about it.
Facts. Hey, Ray Della. Hey, girl. Hey. Yes. So we are covering 90 Day Fiance the Other Way, season 7, episode 16. And I want to say it's Crikey. That's the proper way to say it, even though it looks like Crikey. It's Crikey. Crikey. Yeah, see. The Australian in me. This episode, overall thoughts.
Even though it felt very slow, there were a lot of things happening that are worth conversations, especially in Greta's small section.
100%. This episode of TMW Online is dedicated, in my opinion, to Greta and Greta only. Greta girl, listen, we can all learn so much from you standing 10 toes down and deep in your convictions. Yes, indeed. That being said, let's just jump right into it. It starts off with Patia and Dylan. Do you think this couple's going to make it, Abby?
If they make it, it will only be because Patia is a bit delusional. Because Dylan is saying everything that he could say to make her run away, and she's not running away, in my opinion.
Yeah. I feel like Dylan is low vibes. He's giving me low vibrations. He's giving me no effort. And he's giving me like, I'm just going to do what I've always done. And hopefully because you're older, you're not wiser and you're just going to go with the flow. And I'm not a fan of it. But
yeah. Well, his friend said something very interesting that I think applies as well. He said that he's just has a hard time changing anything. He won't even change his food. So you know how people say, like, when you've been traumatized, you might be inclined to go back to the person who caused the trauma because your nervous system just goes back to what it knows. It just like, it sees that as a known rather than searching for something new, even though the new could be better. Maybe this is Dylan with Patia. Like, he's just gonna keep trying to stay with Patia and not look for anything new that actually meets what he wants because it's just what his nervous system knows.
Maybe, or maybe like no one else is going to put up with his BS and he knows that she will because she continues to take him back. I mean, somewhere in this episode, they said that they used to break up after they were engaged every 3 weeks. And I just don't know anyone that like, I wouldn't put up with that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I wouldn't put up with that. So he's concerned about the boundaries with his mom and he's worried that she continues to ask every week about being proposed to. And women, ladies, friends, girlies, if you have to beg your dude to marry you, that might not be your dude. Like, no, just no. So he's going to go to the jewelry store. And I thought, okay, he's going to go to the jewelry store. He's going to find a ring for her. They're going to have a fresh start. But no, Abby. The old ring from 12 years ago that he took back from her, he's just going to get it polished and shined up. Here you go. Get it back right here. No. I just, no. So same ring he's going to give back to her. Friend thinks that, maybe you want to look at other rings, which is what I'm thinking. Maybe just take the diamond out, put it in a different setting. That way you're not spending more money if that's your issue. But I know it's not your issue because you own a bunch of properties. You're just being low vibes. You're being low vibrational and giving this no effort. And I just don't appreciate it. And I think that no.
Can you get into Patia's mind here? I'm having a hard time understanding her perspective. Why repeatedly ask for this ring?
So, Abby, I think this is what it is. And live chat, let me know what you think. And if you're watching the replay, let me know what you think. But I think oftentimes as women, we stay with the devil we know. And we are like, we've put so much time and effort into this situation. You know that person's ins and outs, and it might not be perfect, but because you feel like you've invested so much time, you're going to stay with it. I've oftentimes heard women say, oh, I wasted my good years. I wasted so much time, all this stuff with this person, this person, this person. And I think that that's what her mindset is, that she's, 12 years into this guy. She knows this guy. She thinks she loves this guy for whatever reason. So to having to start fresh, that's hard. That's the harder thing to do. And so I think that that's what it is, Abby. That's what I think it is.
So what's the difference, do you think, in her mind between she's living there with him versus she's wearing a ring from him? She's already moved down there.
Mm-hmm.
They're living together. Why is she asking for the ring every single day? Like, what's the point?
Because she feels like that's commitment. She feels like that's commitment. A ring to her on her finger is stability and commitment. And they talked about it when they got to the strip club.
Okay, I'm going to stop interrupting. Let's go.
So the friend, Chris, is like, hey, I feel like you might want to look at some other rings. And Dylan's like, nope, this is the ring. I've been holding it for the last 10 years. I don't know, though. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I want to give it to her because, what happened in Thailand. She was wishy-washy and she felt like I wasn't giving her enough money. She couldn't live the simple life. He believes that she only cares about the fast-paced lifestyle, quick money, stripping, and just being in that lifestyle and spending. And Chris is like, well, if that's her life, how is she going to adjust to living here? Like, what's changed? What's changed with you and what's changed with her? If nothing has changed, then just like I've said with all of the couples, you can't just leave a location and think that you're leaving your problems. Your problems are coming with you because you and the other person are the issue. It's not the location, it's the people. Make it make sense. So Chris, the friend, says, Dylan's really stubborn and lives in a fantasy and not reality and stays in the same old ways and habits. And I thought that was a very important note. That your friend who has no skin
in the game.
Skin in the game. I knew that. No skin in the game is preaching truth about you and is saying, hey, listen, you're super stubborn. You don't change. You haven't changed. You haven't changed in the last 10 years. So what's going to make this different? Whether it's Thailand, Las Vegas, somewhere in Texas, or, right here in Australia, like, what's changed? Nothing has changed. And so, when he talked about, and this is so funny because have you heard of Russell Hartley? I think that's
no, that name's not ringing a bell.
Russell Hartley on Instagram and TikTok is hilarious, you guys. I follow him. He talks about like just dating and women and what you should and shouldn't do. And he's hilarious. And he basically is saying the same type of stuff, like, why settle for someone who's stuck in their own ways, who thinks you're a gold digger and you have no gold? You know what I mean? Like, and Dylan reminds me of this. Like, he's stuck in his chicken and rice ways. And one of the things that Russell talked about was, like, why would you want to date like a bodybuilder? a bodybuilder, you think, yeah, you're going for like the looks and the body and the stuff, but this guy can't go out for dinner. He's prepping his chicken and rice and broccoli every day. He's bringing it to the gym. He's spending 6 hours a day around other, bodybuilder men type. And then, you go to the restaurant, he can't eat anything and he wants to quickly go back home and have his chicken and broccoli and his macros. Like, what fun is that for you?
Right.
It's the same thing here. And we've seen it with Dylan. Dylan might not be a bodybuilder type, but he's doing his macros. He's doing his little like thing of rice. And he's not trying to be outside of that box that he's created for himself. And so I don't know, you guys, is that something that you want? Like, maybe some women like that. Maybe the routine of it all is something that they love. I don't know. What do you think, Abby? Would you like that?
Absolutely not. Food is the highlight of my life, so that wouldn't work. Being rigid in any shared aspect wouldn't work. Like, you could be rigid in your own private aspect, like what order you want to do your face care in at night. I don't care about that. It doesn't involve me. But not in shared activities.
Right. So they go to a strip club and Patia's super happy about it because she's been there for a couple of weeks. She finds it boring. Everything closes too early for her. 10 o'clock is not her vibe. And so she feels like she's in her element. And she's like, being at a strip club is like my second home. She was stripping for at least 37 years, which you guys is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And Dylan's like super happy that she's not in the business anymore. He rather she does a different job, but she misses it. She misses it. She makes making money. She's worried about relying on him for everything, and that failed for them in the past. So I can see why she's concerned, because he's never followed through on what he said he was going to do, in that he was going to provide for her and be the provider for their relationship. He blames her. He says, you shop excessively online and your excessive spending has put you in debt. And that is why, one of the reasons why I took back the ring, why you feel like this simple lifestyle is not enough. And she's asked him in previous episodes to pay off her debt, and he's not really trying to feel that. She wants him to sell one of his properties to do so. And I guess she came to the conclusion that if you're not going to do that, then let me go home to America for 6 months and let me dance this debt off. But guess what? He doesn't like that either.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't want to pay it, but doesn't want her to go home and pay it. And then is using her logic against her and saying, hey, you know what? The fact that you want me to marry you and you're forcing this ring on me, and now you want to go back to the US, just shows me that you're not committed to this relationship. Wait, what?
Yeah.
It's very important, you guys, to have these conversations about finance. They are clearly not on the same page about finance and spending and saving. And we've talked about it. Abby mentioned it. I mention it all the time. But when you talk about finance, you have to talk about your debts. If you are commingling and you're going to be commingling for life, then that person's debt is going to be your debt too, unless you guys discuss something different. But clearly, you all, Patia and Dylan, have not discussed who exactly is going to take on this debt. Patia thinks Dylan is part of the reason why she has this debt. And quite frankly, I don't think she's wrong. I do think she's wrong in the sense that, you spend a lot, you just put it on credit cards and you deal with it later. However, you did pack up your life 2 times now, which means you sold all your stuff. You weren't bringing income in. When you went to Thailand, you were hoping that he was going to provide for you because that's what he said he was going to do. And now you're in Australia, Tanzania. Is that where they are?
Tasmania.
And what? You're worried? Well, it's because you guys haven't communicated.
Yeah.
What are your financial responsibilities for yourself and to each other?
This is actually so confusing to me because I don't really understand why him and his mom keep harping on her debt. Like, if she never pays it, how does it affect either one of them in Australia? Right? It's confusing me. Why do they care? The other thing that's confusing to me is, if you feel like her debt is a problem, then why wouldn't it have been, you need to resolve this debt before you move here, or here's how much I'm willing to help you with it. Here are some jobs you can get once you get here. There just seems to be an admonishing her for the debt without any solutions being provided.
100%. And it's because they haven't communicated. They haven't communicated and they haven't talked about it. And that's the biggest issue.
Right. But the friend wins the episode. Chris and the other friend that we'll see later on with Chloe and Johnny, the friends win the episodes. They're talking so much sense and asking the best questions. Chris asked during the short segment that we saw him in talking to Dylan, such good questions.
Mm-hmm. It is. The other issue that I think is crazy is they're both strippers. They met as strippers. They've been strippers. Dylan still is a stripper, but he doesn't see her stripping the same as him stripping. And he doesn't like the fact that she wants to go back to it. He feels that she's addicted to the fast life and the money. And says to her, if you really love me, you would just stick by my side no matter what.
So many things wrong with that statement.
And she says, well, if you really love me, you put a ring on it. There are so many things wrong with both of those statements. Do you want to start, Abby?
Yes. Let's start with him not wanting her to dance anymore. Question. Did you understand what his perspective was on that? Given the fact that that's how so the only explanation I have for that is just, he doesn't think that she has the same bodily autonomy that he has. He thinks, because he pointed out that there's some times that you're alone and you're not working with another woman and you're with these men. And in those situations is where he's worried. So I feel like what he's pointing out is that in those situations, you don't have as much bodily autonomy as I do. So you're acknowledging that the man is the problem, the man that might be the aggressor. But your solution for that is not to change what men do and how they behave. It's to censor Patia. So that's interesting, if that's the perspective he's coming from, because I can't imagine anything else. You know, I also take so much issue with, if you love me, then you would just stay by my side no matter what. There's no situation where you should stay with someone no matter what. And I'm talking about no matter how much you love your parent, no matter how much you love your sister, no matter how much you love your partner, there's no situation where you should just stay with someone no matter what because you love them, because there are things that people who love you can do that are very detrimental to you.
100% agree with you. Hi, Tina.
Hey.
Tina says, I think he is such a gaslighter. Hi, you just popped up on my YouTube feed. Glad to have you. Everyone, welcome Tina over. I do think that it's also important, you guys, that just because you've been with someone for a long time doesn't mean you have to be with them forever. I also think that when someone says, you know, stick by my side no matter what, it is deep, dark waters over there, right? Because no matter what means what. If you are in an abusive relationship and that person's saying he's having a bad day or she's having a bad day, whatever, no. If you are being financially abused, because that's a thing as well, no. There is no situation where you have to stick by someone's side no matter what, especially if it's a toxic relationship, okay? You have full autonomy on yourself and your happiness and your joy. And if that situation is not bringing you joy, life is just too short to stay and be like, I'm going to stick by your side no matter what. Now, if you're a ride or die and you guys are both the ebb and flow and ups and downs supportive of each other 100%, that's a totally different story. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're in something toxic, just because you've been with someone doesn't mean you have to stay with someone. That's it. Anything else to add for this couple before we move on?
No, you know what? I think his friend Chris just really covered it and gave him some good questions to think about if he's willing to do it. Like how do you figure this is going to work out long term when the pace of life that you both want is completely different?
Exactly. Moving on to Madeline and Luke. What were your overall thoughts?
Blah. Blah, blah this story, blah this. Oh, if you are pregnant, we're just going to have a baby. Absolutely not. Just go ahead, pop a pill, and fly somewhere. The child doesn't need it. You guys don't need it. No.
Okay, so are you still beefing with Luke, or are you giving Luke and Madeline equal responsibility for this?
I'm still beefing with Luke. I'm still giving him more responsibility. I will forever give him more responsibility as the adult in the situation. And I don't understand why he persists in talking to Madeline like she is a fully formed adult when he intentionally dated a child.
All right, so we're going to continue to agree to disagree. She absolutely is not a child. You know, she's 23 years old. She might be a young adult, but she's not a child. And, you know, again, I'm going to reiterate, Abby, her body, her choice. And so she knows exactly what she's doing. And towards the end of their segment, I was shocked, but not shocked on her responses. So she thinks she's pregnant. Luke is stressed out about it. And she's like, you know, if we have a baby, you know, I need stability and I need you to not be a cheater, even though he has, like, I mean, did he cheat? I don't know. So he's not confident in their compatibility. He's brought up that in the past, and she is not trusting of him. But here we are. She's like, leave me alone. She doesn't want to take the pregnancy test. She is being, in my opinion, a brat because, listen, you're the one that bought the pregnancy test. And then you brought it up to Luke. And then now he's like, okay, let's take the test. And you're like, no, leave me alone. Don't touch me. No, I'm not taking the test. Well, then what are we doing? What are we doing? That's childish behavior. So if Abby, you're referring to her as a child for that, absolutely childish behavior. Take the test, find out, have the facts so that you guys can move forward properly and decide what you both are going to do. This is ridiculous. You brought the test. You think you're pregnant. It's your body. So do you want to know or do you not want to know? Just saying. So finally she decides that she's going to take the test. She's never taken a pregnancy test before. And so she's freaking out, which, you know, is normal because they're not in a good place in their relationship. I don't even know if they should be in a relationship. She takes the test. She comes back to the bedroom and says, you know, to him, what do you want it to be? And I thought he had a very grown-up response. He's like, you know, now doesn't seem like the best time for us to have a baby, but you know, I love you. And so whether it's now or 5 years from now, I think you would be a great mom. Excellent answer. Even though Abby is rolling her eyes for someone who has been immature for a lot of this. That's an excellent answer. He's maybe not the best person, but for this situation, that answer was appropriate in my opinion. She shows it to him. It's one line. I was even confused. I was like, what does that mean? Right. But then I remember a doctor somewhere online said it's very rare that you're going to get a false positive. If you get a positive on a pregnancy test, you're probably pregnant. So it's the false negatives that are the ones that are the ones that are like, oh, you thought you were, but you are. That's truth. So they have one line. One line means negative. They both have like a sigh of relief, right? Because, you know, their relationship is not stable. And so bringing a baby into this chaotic mess would have been a mess. Luke goes on to say, I love you and I want this relationship to work. And Madeline says, I love you too, but I don't trust you and I'm really scared. What? He goes on to say that he's going to try to make her happy. She's like, well, what about the conversation we had today? You don't want to share the company that we started together. And, to you, it's all about the money. But then she says in the same episode that to her, it's about the money as well, because she doesn't know if they're going to work out long term. And she wants to make sure that her name is all the paperwork so that if they separate, she's going to get something out of it. So, you guys, I just think that they're equally responsible for the toxicity of this relationship. They are equally responsible. She came in it for reasons and he came in it for reasons. And both of those reasons, in my opinion, because they're not working out, are causing strife in the relationship. But they're both equally wrong. You can't one be wrong and another be wrong and think, ooh, we're going to get a plus. Negative and negative does not make positive. Period.
Not in this situation, yeah.
Well,
I was thinking as we read this, or as I was watching this, I don't recall seeing any happy moments between Madeline and Luke at all. Like even when he surprised her with the flowers and coming a day early, she still pretended to be upset with him, or was really upset with him, and then gave him a hug. It wasn't like, like a happy reunion. So I don't think they need to be together at all. I mean, like, the producers couldn't squeeze one happy moment to show us out of this whole situation.
Outrageous.
I don't need to be together.
Tina, 100%. Her temper reminds me of Anfisa, George's ex, the way she threw it at him. Fast.
Give me my red makeup. I don't even think that it's her.
Bring me my red makeup bag. Something like that.
I don't even think it's her temper, Tina, to be honest. Like, I think this is just the way that Madeline communicates. I don't think that she has a different form of communication, or otherwise, wouldn't we have seen it at this point?
I mean, I think that if that's the case, she has to learn to communicate, and she does not know how to communicate effectively or well. She even says that she realizes that she's difficult, but loves everything. This is what she says. She loves everything that Luke does for her.
Mm-hmm.
Not Luke, I love you as a person. Not Luke, you are so amazing as an individual. None of that. I love everything you do for me. And that is my point, Abby. That is my point.
Oh, no, we agree on that.
No. Do we?
We do, because remember I said that I think that for someone her age coming into this relationship, she was 18 or 19 when they got together, with her background, I don't think that she is capable of searching for a partner for love. I think that she's going to always be in a survival mode. Like, does this fit me being able to survive in the future? That's the way that she's going to make this partnership. It might even be the way that she makes her platonic relationships, because when you've been on your own from 14 years old, you're not looking for companionship. You're looking for, what can somebody do for me? So I'm not surprised that she discusses Luke in terms of what he can do for me. On the flip side, I think that Luke looked for somebody who was younger that he could impress with his money, even though we know that, he's severely in debt. I think he looked for someone that he could impress with his money, because otherwise he has no personality.
Okay, but two wrongs don't make a right.
Oh, no, I don't think it does. I just give the greater share of the responsibility for the situation to the person in the situation who's older.
Yeah, but older doesn't necessarily mean you're wiser and make better decisions.
But you should be. And that's why I put the responsibility on him, because he's older, pursuing somebody who's significantly younger. So I'm going to give him more of that responsibility.
And again, we're going to have to agree to disagree, because I don't think just because someone is older that they're going to make better decisions, because we don't know his history, his life choices. And just because he has more years in age doesn't mean he's going to be more responsible at all. And he's a man. I read an article recently that said most men don't actually fully mature until they're in their mid to late 50s, y'all. I think I read something back when I was in my 20s where it said men mature at their 30s. That study clearly is gone, because now it's mid to older 50s.
So damn near death.
So, like, okay. But I will say this, and I'll continue to say this, they are both equally wrong. I think they both need to go to therapy and figure out who they are as individuals, because I don't think either of them know really who they are. And if it's true what Abby's saying, that Madeline is, even in platonic relationships, looking for what she can get out of someone, that is a terrible friend and terrible partner to have in your life. What can you get out of them, rather than what are you bringing to the table for yourself, and can you survive and be a wonderful, lovely person for yourself?
Yeah. But it's just like Maslow's hierarchy. If your basic needs are not met, then you're not able to look at relationships in a different way.
Are her basic needs at 23 not met? She is in some pageantry stuff. She was looking at buying her own condo. She drives a BMW. She has 2 like foo-foo dogs. She has a business at this point of where we are in the season. So she's not struggling anymore. So
yeah, but you know how you meet people?
She can go ahead and work on herself. What did you just say?
Do you know that it is a thing in like perimenopause and menopause that you just will listen, randomly choke on your own spit?
No.
It's like, it's a thing. So like your mouth starts getting drier, your saliva ducts aren't producing as much saliva, and then like you'll have a random flush that just happens in your mouth and you just like choke on your own spit. It is the weirdest, most embarrassing, maybe not most embarrassing because you're also pissing on yourself sometimes, but like it is one of the more embarrassing parts of perimenopause because nobody tells you about it. It just starts happening and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Can I tell you, I talked to my really good friend Sarah, I think it was last week, and she was telling me, like, first of all, like this whole perimenopause and menopause situation, you guys, like, we all need to be talking about it more, because the things that she was telling me are just, they just sound terrible. They sound absolutely terrible. And
it's terrible.
I just think as women, we go through so much and we are so strong. And I guess I'm just not looking forward to it, because the things I'm hearing, it just sounds terrible. It just sounds terrible. She told me like she can't sleep at night. She's waking up every like few hours to go to the restroom. She said like she's like itchy all of a sudden for no reason. Like all these things just sound absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. It's bonkers. And like because women don't talk about it very much, you'll just be thinking, oh, Tina knows. You'll just be thinking like, am I having problems with like anxiety? Am I having like some psychosomatic issues? No, it's all just menopause.
Yeah, we all need to start talking about it more, because, you know, again, it's only in the last 5 years that I've started hearing about perimenopause. It's nothing that they teach. At least they didn't teach me when I was growing up.
No. Sorry, but I cut you off. You were talking about Madeline and Luke. She has all of her needs provided now.
They just need to go to therapy. This is a toxic relationship, and I think that both of them need to go to therapy and work on themselves rather than forcing this relationship to be something that's not.
I think they need to split up. I mean, they can go to individual therapy. I don't think that they need couples therapy. I think they need to be alone.
And again, individual therapy is what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Go and work on yourself individually, separately, because both of you, in my opinion, are not bringing the proper things to a relationship. If one person is looking in a relationship for what they can get out of it, that just sounds crazy. And if someone is looking to be in a relationship with someone younger so they can control the relationship and they bring nothing to the table as well, and they are fibbing about who they are and who they represent, then that's not okay either. Go and fix yourselves. Go and work on your financial stuff, go and work on your emotional stuff, go and work on this gaslighting on both parts, go and work on your communication, and it will just be better for everyone all the way around.
Yeah.
That being said, do you have anything to add to this couple, or are we going to move on to the next couple?
Well, I had a thought also as I was watching it, which is something that I've seen with my own clients from time to time. I think that when you don't like your partner, like you're with your partner for, like you think you're in love, right? But technically you don't like them. You don't like the way they sleep. You don't like the way they walk. You don't like the way they talk. Everything is worse in the relationship because you actually don't like that person. You've just somehow convinced yourself to stay with them. I see it because sometimes I see green card marriages. And listen, it's not for everybody. It's a lot of work to stay in that marriage long enough to get your green card, especially if it's somebody who's like farting and burping all the time and they're just like annoying, or they say annoying things. Like, it is a lot of work. It's not for everybody. So I was also thinking along the lines of maybe she just doesn't like him anymore. Like at one point in time, she did like him, but now she doesn't like him. And so now everything he does is annoying. And that's why we get this argument about everything.
That could be true. That could be true. You know, I laugh and I think of you, Abby, often because the realization, and it's funny because I think that anyone that knows me knows it to be true, but you really like put it very clear and concise when you're like, you know, Linda, when you just don't like someone, you don't believe anything that they say. And I have that as I go in my day life, I realize that 100%. That is so true about me, you guys. If we've cut, and I'm Canadian, I like everyone. But if I actually don't like you, then yeah, I don't believe anything that you're saying. And I don't know where like it's like this. It's like a misfire. You could say it, and I just like I'm looking at you like no. So, anyways, I find that to be super funny because I'm starting to notice it more and more. As I go through my day-to-day life, I'm like, oh yeah,
right. You're like, I don't believe this person. Oh, turns out I just don't like them.
Facts. These are facts. And it's not often, you guys, because I really do love everyone. But there are some people that I'm just like, no, immediately no. And I told you guys, like, my gut is really like God speaking to me, and I trust it 100%. But yeah, so it's true. It's true.
Silver, we got to talk about HRT. Your friend is saying HRT was a game changer for her. We'll have some more conversations about that.
I don't know what HRT is, but I do know that Sarah said, hormone replacement therapy. Yeah. Sarah said also the estrogen shots or whatever really helped her. But the natural, there's like natural and not natural. I don't know, you guys. Maybe we'll get some experts on and we'll have like a whole show on this. That being said, we're moving on to Johnny and Chloe. Overall thoughts on their segment.
You know, I actually do have one interesting thought about this. Okay. She's repeatedly saying the easiest way, we all know how this ends, but let's just go with me. She repeatedly says the easiest way for me to stay here is for us to just get married. She says it to Johnny, says it to her friends, says it to the camera. And at no point in time would somebody equate this to a green card marriage. But that's what you're always accusing everybody else of. Not you, Linda, like you, the viewer, you Americans mostly. You Americans are constantly claiming that somebody is just doing something for a green card. But here we have Chloe openly admitting the easiest way for her to stay in Aruba is just to get married. And that's the same thing that I'm pretty sure people in her family would be against if it came to somebody coming to the United States.
1000%. And why do you think no one is saying that, Abby? Why? Why? Why, live chat? Why? I mean, I know the answer. Do you? Just saying. Y'all up here talking about how the Nigerians are coming to America. They just want a green card. How, the Moroccans are coming to America. They just want a green card. How, I don't know, whatever. All of it. All of it that y'all are saying, the rhetoric that we hear nonstop. Chloe's saying the exact same thing for Aruba, and none of you are up in arms about it. Why is that? Is it because it's not America, or could it be something else? Oh, God. Okay. No TED Talks today, you guys. I'm really being like chill, because I could go off, but I'm really not doing it. Really not doing it today. Chloe and Johnny are at the beach, and they're processing the fact that, they need to get married for her to stay there. And Chloe's talking about her best friend, Maria, who lives her best friend in Aruba, Maria. They want to have a meatball night, and meatball night is just really a girly fun night out where they go drinking and they chit chat and they beat meatballs. It's not actually them eating meatballs. Johnny thinks that he's going to be a part of this dinner and drinks thing, and is like, are you making sure that you're only going to have one drink? And she's like, yeah, no, you're not invited, and I can't really promise it's going to be one drink. And he's worried about that because when she gets together with Maria, they quote unquote go all out. And he's worried that she's going to be in vacation mode because, every time she's come there, it's been a vacation. And I also told you guys for years now, you can't just be like, hey, I'm marrying Vacay Bae, and you know nothing about that person. Vacay Bae is Vacay Bae. Everything is great when you're on vacation. You're on holiday for 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks. Everything is roses and sunshines and ponies and unicorns. You definitely need to go and spend time at that. Listen, you guys, without getting too much into my business, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. Ladies, come closer. Come closer. Okay, listen. If you're a single individual and you're in these dating streets, please make sure that before you commit to anything crazy with the person that you're dating, that you go to their house. You know where they live. You've walked around their house, their apartment, their friggin' basement suite, whatever it is, you make sure that you've done that. It will save you a lot of time and energy. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if for some reason you haven't been to that person's house, then you should not move forward. And my personal rule is if I haven't come to your house, you can't come to my house. That's my rule.
Mm-hmm.
Take that information and run with it, because I promise you, I, Linda, the guru, will have saved you so much time and energy and heartbreak.
Here's my first Chloe Johnny question for you. Why does he care how much she drinks when she goes out for this night? Because she doesn't have any responsibilities right now. It's like she doesn't have a job she needs to get up for, not a child to take care of. Why does he care if she goes out and has a fun night with her friend Maria?
Well, I can tell you why. It's because, and Chloe tells us in this episode, her mom cut her off financially. And so and she's used to, like she said, no more dinner every night, because they paid thousands and thousands of dollars of going out and partying on her mom's dime. So he's worried that, are you going to go out and just have one drink? Because I can't afford for you to have multiple drinks and eating out like this.
So it's financial.
It's financial.
Okay. Because I was like, you know, what does he care if she goes out and has a couple drinks? Why one drink? But okay, financial. So he's paying for her to go out with Maria. Got it. He's like, I want you to rein it in on how much you spend. Got it.
That's right,
Okay.
because he can't afford it. So she's meeting with Maria and I think it's Camellia, and is catching them up on all things, her relationship, her finances, her all the things. And that's where she talks to her friends about, you know, she can't go out every single night and party like she was previously every time she came to Aruba because her mom has cut her off. And here's the funny thing, you guys. The mom has cut her off for her to like be gallivanting and doing all the things that she wants to do with no idea of what costs what. But she's still on her mom's phone plan. Girl, can you just say that you are on an Aruba tryst? Have all the fun and then call it a day. Can you not say you're moving to Aruba and you're marrying Johnny the Pirate, who I'm finding in this episode apparently is a serial cheater. I mean, there's no proof of it yet, but this is what the friends are saying. And you know, your friends, again, my new saying, because now I know how to say it, is your friends have no skin in the game. They just protect you and love you. So if they're telling you while you're away for the last year, he's been cheating every single week, what do you want to do? What you want to marry who for what? Yes, Tina, like, girl, grow up. Grow up. Okay, so they've been together for a year. Friends that still think that she's in a honeymoon phase because a lot of that year was long distance. Chloe wants to figure out what the easiest way to be legal is, and the easiest way for her to be legal in Aruba is to get married, and she wants to do that. And her friends think that's the worst idea ever. Because you know what? You're going to find out about a random girl every single week. They bring up Clubhouse and other examples where he has allegedly cheated on her. And so for you, Abby, the attorney, I wanted to ask you from a legal perspective, let's say she does get married and she finds out like within the first 3 to 6 months that there's been infidelity. What does that look like? Can there be an annulment? What does that look like?
Oh, you know, here in the US, you could ask for an annulment. In Aruba, I really don't know. Because I'm not familiar with the Dutch system at all. So I don't know what their requirements would be. She would most likely be looking at just getting a regular divorce, though. I mean, because annulment there's an element of, okay, you had to be defrauded, or there has to be some kind of breach of contract, something like that. Typically, infidelity doesn't really meet that standard unless it's combined with something else.
Oh.
But you can at least you can ask for one, and the judge will decide whether or not to give it to you. But I mean, considering that her main driving factor for wanting to get married right now is just for residency purposes, it's just not a good idea. But we knew that from the beginning. We knew from the beginning, look, Chloe's just about to have a little Aruba adventure. Great. If she just comes out of it without a baby, that's fine, right? Don't want her to come out with a heartbreak, but I don't think anybody predicted that this was going to be a long-lasting situation. And I'm glad that she has met some people who she calls friends who are being honest with her about that.
100%. Silver Lining is asking, what does she do all day? She says she doesn't cook or clean. She doesn't work or have a car. Does she just spy on his boat all day?
Maybe she's sitting back writing some mean raps like Cardi B, who also says she don't cook, she don't clean. But let me tell you how I got this ring.
Y'all are wild. I don't know what she does all day. I mean, I do know she sits in the trees and spies on her pirate boyfriend.
Raspberry is there in the island and has never heard of annulment of marriage in the islands. So that's really good to know. I mean, I guess the other problem is one of the stereotypes about the islands, and I don't know if this is like rude to say, but like one of the stereotypes is that the men are generally not faithful. I mean, that goes across like, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, the Bahamas. Like, when we hear about these situations, these men usually have like their main family and then their other family, and it's just really, really, really common.
Yeah, I want to say, yeah, that is something that we hear often, but I do want to tell you this, that a lot of men cheat. And I don't care if you're just like Caribbean area or else, a lot of men just cheat. Do you know that? I will say that I'm so fascinated by how many men who are in relationships cheat. It's wild. Like, you could just not be in that relationship. It's weird to me.
You could, or you could be honest. But I've had men tell me when we have that conversation here, it's like pretty common to be polyamorous, have like multiple partners, but this people still choose to cheat. And I've
Wild.
had men tell me that the reason why they won't be honest is because it limits the pool of women that they could be involved with. So, like, even though there's women here who are completely okay with it, you still want to have a bigger pool of women that are available to you, so you still lie.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Disgusting behavior. Abby, do you remember when that show was on? I'm not going to mention the show because I don't want to like get into. But do you remember there was like, y'all? There was like a year where this like polyamorous vibe was out there, and these shows thought that I would be interested in living that lifestyle. Do you remember this?
I remember these shows being popular, but I do not remember you being solicited to be on the show.
Who? So one of you, maybe Silver Lining knows, but there was a whole year where I was like, am I giving off a vibe where it's just like, are we open for this? Because I absolutely am not open to it. Anyways, stop cheating, y'all. Just break up and move on. Chloe thinks that ever since she's been in Aruba, he's been faithful. And I just think that that is the craziest thing I heard her say. Like, what? So you're happy now that you're actually physically there that he's been faithful? And because you ain't got no job, you ain't got no car, you got like 2 friends, so you're always going to be around him. When can he possibly cheat? Because even when he goes to work, you're spying on him. So yeah, he's been faithful. Is that something to be proud of?
It's not. And one of the questions that her friends ask, like really good questions, but one of the questions they don't ask is that how you want your future to look? That you guys have to do everything together in order to keep him from cheating? Because like, I love Beyonce, love her down, but ever since we found out that Jay-Z cheated, they don't do nothing alone anymore. Is that really how you want to live?
It just couldn't be me. I've said this to you guys in the past. I just don't like the person I've been cheated on. And that one time we were just, that was it. Well, actually, no, 2 times. I've been cheated on twice. But one of them I'm like blocking out because so yeah, no, I cannot. Can't, won't, don't. Silver Lining says she remembers that time. Yeah. Oh, what a time. Oh, what a time. Oh, and I remember there was something. Who was it? It was one of our old G's. Someone said something in the comment section that should have really been a DM. And someone was like, why would you say that to her? And then they got in a fight in my comment section over this polyamorous stuff. I was like, I'm just going to step away because I am not involved in this. I already said that this is not something I would be interested in. So y'all calm down.
Mm-hmm.
We find out that Johnny's been cheating. Been cheating according to her 2 besties in Aruba. Been cheating this whole year that she has been dating him abroad. And they're wondering, is she just lying to her better? And he has a reputation on the island of being a womanizer. And literally her friend says he's cheated every week. And friend thinks that it's a bad idea to try to get married, even if it's for the green card, because you really are going to be living a crazy lifestyle and you need to prepare yourself. Okay. Basculum Raspberry said she looked it up. It's only possible if important laws were broken, like forced marriage, fake marriage, bigamy, marriage with relatives. Oh, whoa. So I guess you can only get an annulment on the island if it was like some legal
Yeah,
law
not
was
because somebody cheated on you
not because
afterwards.
someone cheated on you.
And that's interesting that you have to petition if in case of bigamy. Here, if bigamy is discovered, your marriage is just void. You don't have to file for divorce or annulment or anything. The marriage is just void. So if you get married to someone here and you find out that they were married to someone like in their home country, this is how I see it happen a lot. The person from the home country may think that they have a legitimate and legal divorce, but if USCIS, which is our immigration authority, determines that it was not a actual legal divorce, then that person can be found to be committing bigamy. And the marriage that they had here in the US is void. So that's why I always tell people, if you're here in the United States and you were previously married to a spouse out of the country, get divorced here in the US, because USCIS is not going to question your divorce documents from here, but they will question your divorce documents from home. They'll question the authenticity of them. They'll question if they went through the right channels, especially if you are from a country that has a government that's had some trouble in the past few years, like some difficulty with organization, maybe reorganization, civil war, because the documents that you provide as evidence of your divorce may not be standard. They may be very different documents depending on who like not having an actual process to get the divorce done. And so then USCIS will say, we have these 5 different documents that all purport to be divorces. They're all different. We're accepting none of them.
Gotcha. Good to know, you guys. Legal facts for America.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to add anything else to them before we move on to the last but not least couple?
No, let's dive into Greta. Greta is a G.
Greta is a G. Greta, again, this episode is dedicated to you. Way to stand your ground. Way to stand your ground and not be manipulated. And let me tell you something, you guys. I did not. This is segment right here. This is the one that is forcing a TED Talk. Okay. Because what you're not about to do is gaslight this girl who is educated. She might be like, soft-spoken, but she's not stupid. Okay. And what you all are doing, gaslighting her and making her think she's crazy and friggin' sleep deprived, that is not, listen, y'all, listen. Okay. Never, and I mean never, and people say never, I'm saying never let anyone gaslight you into doing something you don't want to do because they're trying to convince you and manipulate you to do what they want you to do. Don't do it. If you are firm in what you want to do, stick to that, and don't let any crazy person tell you crazy stupid shit, because they're manipulating and gaslighting you. The simple fact that I'm jumping ahead, but I'll come back to it. The simple fact that Mark, the dad, who she respects, who I respect because he's an elder, the simple fact that he looked her in her face and said to her that she is sleep deprived. And okay, what is he? Sleep deprived and has only been there for 4 days, so she's not making proper choices for her life, blew my mind. So you're trying to tell me this woman who spent at least 4 years in her undergrad, another few years getting her law degree, and then another at least maybe year studying for the bar, she doesn't know how to make wise decisions for herself, and that because she flew to the UK to give her long distance boyfriend an opportunity to see that what she was feeling over the last 6 months to a year, if that was true enough, and she realized quickly that, you know what, yes, that is how I'm feeling. I do not love this man, and I want to pursue my education and my career and my lifestyle. For him to then get his dad to come and talk to her and tell her to her face and in her eyes that she's sleep deprived and that's why she's making this decision, blew my mind. It blew my mind. It blew, you know, the audacity of that statement. Do you know the gaslighting of that statement to say to a woman, oh, you just, you know what, you need a little bit more sleep?
Everything that he said from top to bottom was problematic. Everything he said and didn't say, because he didn't ever ask how she was doing or how she was feeling. So fuck, like, just who cares about her? Like, you say you care about her, just like your son says he cared about her, but neither one of you was showing it. So now we know where Matthew got it from.
100%.
Okay?
100%.
He didn't ask anything about how she was doing, how she was feeling, and then immediately launched into, you broke his heart.
You broke his heart. He loved you. You are thinking of yourself. Okay.
And Greta handled this so nicely, because she could have been evil with it. She could have been, who else am I supposed to be thinking about during this time?
100%. And you know what? Here's the other thing. You know, oftentimes as women, we take on all the things because we don't want to upset the other person. So we're taking on the blame, we're taking on the shame, we're taking on all the stuff. And this is what Greta's doing. In order to even make Mark the dad feel comfortable, she puts all the blame on herself. Like, what? You know, what? Okay. Greta's spiraling after ending her engagement with Matthew. She said she's filled with sadness and she feels bad that she broke a promise, because engagement is a promise. That goes to show you what type of lovely individual she is, because who thinks that way, right? Like, yeah, you broke up the promise, but you also saved yourself. Matthew's dad texts and wants to meet up with her, and she's hoping that that conversation they have ends up amicably, because she's feeling very, very guilty. And so they meet up, they're catching up with each other, and he's like, I can't understand what happened. Where are you? I'm worried about Matthew because he loves you and you broke his heart. You. Where are you? Why are you not there for my son? My son is sad and it's your fault and you broke his heart. And what happened? I can't understand why you made your own choice as a grown ass woman and you broke my son's heart. You are wrong. What is happening with you? I'm worried about Matthew. So this is the same family that welcomed her with open arms and loved on her. Because it sounds to me like that was all like frou-frou BS, and the toxic family that she left, that she grew up with, at least they were toxic to her face, so she knew what she was dealing with. So you loved her today, you loved her yesterday, but you don't love her tomorrow. You don't love the new and real person that she's presenting because it doesn't work in the little box that you put her in. What? Abby, what? So she's struggling, right? So Mark did all this pointing and blaming, and that's why she's struggling. She doesn't want to hurt Matthew. She doesn't want to hurt the dad. And she says, you know, I did love him so much. And that was then, but she doesn't feel like she's in love with him now. And then here is where I was just like, what year are we in? Like, I know that we're in like upside down world right now, you guys, but we can't let people. Here's my note. Don't mix up empathy with manipulation. Okay. Because it can look like they're being empathetic, but they're just manipulating you. Because when he said that Greta has forgot how to live because she's been studying, you all should be appalled. So you're basically saying that because she decided that she doesn't want to just be a housewife and mom, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's your choice, but she decided for herself that that's not what she wants to do. She wanted to further her education and did further her education and became a lawyer, passed the bar, the whole 9 yards. And so she decided that she wants to continue to pursue that. The dad then says, you forgot how to live because you've been studying and educating yourself.
He expected her to go, woe is me. I'm just a little lady who doesn't know what I want or need. You all right? Let me come back to the house with you.
End scene.
How does this even work out in their minds? In their minds, he says, oh, you forgot how to live and you've not slept properly. And she says, you know what? You're right. Let me come back to the house. Like, in their minds, does that then create a good relationship? How does this work out for them? After she's already said, I don't love you anymore. And then he came back and said, is it the cameras? Like, how does that work out in your mind? Because for me, at some point, you're going to realize, let's say she decided to stay, what she didn't. Good on Greta. At some point, doesn't it play over and over in your head when she said, I do not love you anymore?
And not just said it once, she continues to say it. You know, at one point I loved him. I loved him so much, but I don't feel like I'm in love with him. She said it to Matthew's face. She said it to the dad today. Like, I don't know how many times she has to say it and how much clearer she has to be. I don't love you anymore.
Right.
What more can she say?
I don't want that. I'll be 2 times the father. I still don't want to have kids with you. What else how many times does she need to say in their face, I don't, oh my God, that thing that I told you earlier applies here. You guys know who Shara is?
Who?
Shara, she gives out like the dating advice. And somebody asked her one day how to get their ex back. And she was like, so your ex.
Oh yeah, you told me this.
Your ex threw you in the trash. Greta, she's thrown Matt in the trash, right? Put him out to the curb. The trash people came and collected him. Drove him all the way to the landfill. And he's trying to crawl out the landfill to go back to Greta, who's already told him, I don't want you. Didn't try to come rescue him from the landfill, the trash, or the curb.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense. So Greta tells Mark, the dad, you know, I respect Matthew. I want him to be happy. I don't love him. I'm not in love with him anymore. And the dad says, like I said at the top of this, you just traveled halfway across the world. You've probably not slept properly. He's prepared to give you time and your space so that you can get a little sleep and wake up and miraculously just be in love with him again and accept this proposal and marry him.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
He's willing to give you time and space, but not space in that room to put your things away.
The dad goes on to say it's been 4 days. It hasn't been given enough chance to go any further. And this is where I'm going to reiterate to everyone, do not mix up manipulation and empathy. They are completely separate things, but they can look similar. This is manipulation because nowhere in here, like Abby said, did Mark say, how are you doing? You know, we care about you. How can we be there for you? How can we support you? How did you come to this decision? Okay, we'll respect this decision. And how can we consciously uncouple? But again, Greta, all the props to you because she said, you know what? I know that Matthew is not my person. I don't love him. I'm not in love with him. And the dad's like, oh, that's such a shame. She goes on to say, I know that I, taking all the blame on herself, can't make him happy. Thank you for welcoming me into your family. I appreciate it. Again, taking in all the blame. The dad, just like Matthew, says, I realize that there's no hope for Matthew and Greta because she's rationalized and justified her choices in her mind.
Such a weird statement because where else would she make her choices? Where else would she make her decisions? She also said something that was really nice. She said, we're not evolving into people who are compatible with each other. That's a very nice thing to say instead of saying, your son was not providing me with any kind of assurances and making me feel comfortable in the place where we were.
Tina says she's lucky there were cameras, or she might be locked up in the basement somewhere.
I mean, based on the way that they're acting.
Facts.
Heck yeah.
But facts.
We are just full of F-bombs today. Sorry, guys.
Listen, because it's so outrageous. What year are we living in?
Right. Raspberry. How dare she use her mind as a woman? How
that
dare
part.
she?
How dare she? How dare she?
Dare I say that I have been using my brain a little bit too much lately, and that is the reason why I have not been able to care for the children. And cut.
How dare she be rational and justified? What?
Joslo.
Oh, Lord. Not a woman being rational and justified.
Oh.
How dare she?
I may be coming down with a little bit of hysteria.
Hysteria. Oh, no. Let me quickly tend to my oven.
I wonder if by the time we get to the tell-all, will there have been any introspection on his part or the part of the family members? Or are they still going to come in like doubling down on the things they've done? Because for me, it's so clear that they're wrong. But for so many other people, when I'm like reading Reddit threads or even people reacting to things that I've said, for so many people, just because he was soft-spoken, Greta's the one who's wrong, right? So I wonder, like, are they just going to feel justified in the way that they've behaved? Because I think their behavior is outrageous. His father going to speak to her, knowing she doesn't have that kind of family support, and you want to use her respect for you as a weapon to try and force her to stay in this relationship, is wrong on so many levels.
How dare she rationalize and justify her decisions? That's all I have to say. If you guys think you're okay with that and you want to go on wherever you want to go, social media, and you think that's okay for a man to tell a woman that she's over rationalizing and over justifying her own personal decisions for her own personal life, then that's on you. That's on you. Greta, 10 toes deep and down. I'm with you, girl. Stick to your guns. Be happy. Go for what you want for your life, period, full stop. The rest is just noise.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, that's it. Happy Wednesday, you guys. Thank you for, I could never imagine someone's dad speaking to me. Listen, Tina, this whole thing is outrageous. It's outrageous. And the fact that a grown man told a young lady that she just needs to go and get some more rest. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. Go sleep this off. Tomorrow you'll want to marry my son. And on that note, we will see you guys on Friday. We're catching up. We're catching up, y'all. Let us know your thoughts on this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you Friday. Even if Greta is wrong, what good would it do to have a relationship with someone who is not into it fully? Facts.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Tina, thanks for popping over. We loved having you. Subscribe so you can come back.
Subscribe, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.